Bruce.
Yep, there you go. Recording.
I move for approval as presented.
One change, Tim would like to make a presentation right after the presentation about the ATV. So they want to squeeze that in there. So it'd go in and right under 10, right under 9. So it's kind of an amended agenda.
As amended.
Very good. Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the minutes of June 14th.
I'll move. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Public comment. A bunch of people stand in line, so I assume.
Quite as much as you ever heard. So far.
Nothing online.
Receipt of information from supervisors not seated. I don't see any. Update from Administrator Netherland.
May I interrupt before we get to that? I
No.
just need to let you, Mr. Chair, know that I have a 2:30 court hearing. So I'm going to leave at like 2:28, and it's not because I don't like you guys, but it's because I have court, and I'll come right back. It should be short.
Okay, quick update here. Good news, so this committee will be interested to know. Broadband grants awarded by PSD of Wisconsin were awarded, and out of the 71 awarded grants, Polk County received 2, both from Lakeland Communications. One covers the Johnstown area in Eastern County, and then the other one is in the Osceola Farmington area. Combined, it will reach approximately 26 business and a little over 900 residences. So I really think that I'm sure that the fact that we have more skin in the game now gave us enough points to get those 2 awards. I think the only one that wasn't awarded was the much smaller one from Starwire, which they're located, I think, just north into Burnett County. One to bring up, I mentioned this earlier, but I want to make sure everybody's aware. We're looking at the old jail, Building C. I know we got to work through some things with the Sheriff's Department. We are up against a requirement that we upgrade the fire protection there, the fire alarms, that type of thing, which would run us about a little over $700,000, maybe $800,000. In addition to that, if we are going to continue housing people in that, the heating and air conditioning is probably at its end of life. So we anticipate another $200,000 to $300,000 right there alone. So we are looking at options, one of which would be to use that building for storage and some things that don't inhabit people working there, and moving Kinship and the Mental Health Task Force, which are 2 outside agencies or groups that are using it. We have space in our Community Services Division part of the building, considering moving them over there. I think they'll like the better HVAC system and so on. And then we could use that building for storage. We still have to work out, and we got to find out, because I know the Sheriff's Department trains there. We want to make sure that can we use it on so many hours, at a time to do it, that type of thing. So just to make you aware of that. Today's Chad Roberts' last day. Don Wortham from Humorous Extension is filling in. So if you get a message from Don, much like you used to maybe from Chad, you'll know that Don has been put on loan to us from UW Extension. We have some interviews set up. We feel very good about candidates that have applied for that position. And then the other thing I'll let Don talk about later. That's all I have.
I don't see Mo.
No, I'll fill in for Steve.
You're up.
Update on the highway department projects. We met with the me and Mo met with the Village of Balsam Lake last Wednesday to discuss a parking issue on State Road 46 and County Road I with the new Balsam Lake Brewery and Market. There's some congestion there at that intersection coming off State Road 46 and on I. We're proposing to eliminate a parking spot on State Highway 46 by the northwest corner of the new brewery, and then shifting the center line on County Road I over towards the Peppers Repair Station there to eliminate some of the congestion for traffic turning off 46 onto County Road I, and also the visibility issue when coming off of I onto 46 with the traffic parked so close to the intersection. So we're working on that with the village. Highway projects, we recently pulverized 1,500-foot section of County Road D3 just north of Range there. We lifted that road bed approximately 20 inches with a gravel lift for about 500 feet of that. We're widening the road through there by Town Line Lake Road, rip wrapping it and all that, floating silk fence, the whole project there. We'll come back and the gravel lift is done. We'll come back and build the rest of D3, the entire segment up to County Road G, the week of August 15th and pave on the week of August 22nd. County Road Double P is complete down there by Duranda. That was milled and profile milled and paved. Shoulders are complete. That one we've got wrapped up. County Highway chip seals will begin on the week of July 18th. We have approximately 17 miles of county highways to chip seal. We're doing an additional 6.25 miles for the town of Alden, possibly with a little bit from the Village of Balsam Lake around the industrial park there that we got to get lined up with them yet. County Road F2 from County Road Double P to Pondhurst Drive. That one is complete. That was a federal project, and there's a couple of things that the engineer is working on wrapping up, moving a stop bar at County Road C and F. They've got to adjust that a little bit. It got painted too far back and creates a visibility concern for people that actually stop at the stop bar. WISDOT, of course, has been working on US Highway 63. They're wrapping up the paving on that. WISDOT is also starting on State Highway 46 today, July 5th, and that's due to be completed in September. That's a mill and overlay with some culvert rehabilitation and stuff in that section of road. County mowing, we're wrapping up the county mowing and starting on the WISDOT mowing here this week. So that's what I've got.
Did you get the temporary help? Did you get those positions all filled?
No, sir. We still have one open position for the seasonal employment. We've not been able to fill. We do have 3 seasonals that are working out really well. With the 2 new hires starting tomorrow, we're technically have a full crew again, but with 2 out on medical issues, I don't think we'll have a full crew for very long. The way it's going.
Any other questions? Just one for me, Josh. Is it still July 1 before you can touch a ditch bank on a state highway?
Correct. Yes.
Just for the record, in case everybody knows, not that they don't want to mow, it's the state won't let them start till July.
WISDOT has a pretty stringent mowing policy regarding when we can start and when we can't mow, and it's 1 single pass per year. Nesting birds and rusty patch bumblebees and all kinds of other things we're looking out for. Unfortunately, it allows the spread of invasives, but that's how it currently works.
Okay, thanks, Josh.
Yep.
Your flock.
I got a few notes here. We've been pretty busy last month. We had a burglar up in Frederick that we did a press release on. The guy for 3 weeks was breaking into cabins and staying in the cabins and then stealing items and kind of becoming a nuisance up in that area. So he eluded us a couple times because it's big country up there, and you know it takes us a while to get the resources. But through the hard work of our staff, they were able to catch him, and he's held accountable for his actions. So very proud of the staff, the work they did on that. We got through the 4th of July pretty well. We did have one serious crash on Sunday evening. It was a drunk driver took another car head on. That drunk driver is in very serious critical condition still. The other driver was treated and released. So we still only to date have one fatality. So we're knocking on wood, doing quite well there. Last week, I got to travel down to Kansas City, Missouri. The National Sheriff's Conference was there, and we presented, my staff and I, and then one of the consultants we hired to work on our videos. And it pertained to the cold case we solved with the Native American double homicide. So it was an honor to be presenters at that level. So I'm really proud of the staff, and kind of nice to showcase our work at a national level. Also, in addition, I get a scholarship through my Badger Sheriff group to attend that. So there's very minimal cost for me to attend that National Sheriff's Conference. So I turn in my gas receipts and my room. And then by presenting, our conference was free. So pretty good deal, pretty good opportunity. Recruitment, we're continually trying to recruit. We are a couple deputy positions short. I think we're going to be looking at about, I think currently we have like 12 applications. So still not really encouraged by the numbers, but hopefully we get some quality applicants. Trying to hire dispatch and also for corrections. And it's ongoing, you know, and I can sympathize when I hear Josh talk about how you're always seem to be sitting with open positions. It's hard to keep them full. Hopefully that changes. Rec Patrol, we had a good weekend out on Rec Patrol. We worked quite a bit this past weekend, got the boat out. It's the busiest water weekend of the year, and we didn't have any tragedies, and I'm very happy for that. A couple weeks ago, we did send our boat over to Birchwood. Barron County requested our assistance. They had a missing boater, and we spent a day working with them trying to help recover their victim, and they did ultimately recover it. It was, I think, the next day they found the person. So it's nice to have that equipment. It's nice to have that boat in that position so that, you know, we can assist our neighbors. And if we have a similar situation, I know that they'll send help as well. And I know Jay knows this from his old days of being the sheriff, but the sheriff is statutorily responsible for recovering bodies from drownings. So that's why having this equipment is very important. I know I heard feedback from our officers, and the sonar system we have was really high quality, really good. So it's nice to see that we have good equipment. We also are assisting our neighbors. They had an in-custody death in Burnett County, and I have nothing I can disclose other than just that we are heading up that investigation so that we're the outside agency looking into it. We have a busy month coming up. We have our county fair at the end of the month that we spend a lot of time at. And again, staffing that will be a challenge. Every year, it gets harder and harder for us to have a good presence down there, but we try and we'll do our best. And then August 2nd will be our national night out. So I would encourage all supervisors and anybody who wants to come over and see our national night out. It really is a nice night. We partner with a lot of different entities, and we promote, you know, I look at it as oftentimes a recruiting tool as well. We're going to get a lot of young people to come over, and that might just make them want to become law enforcement or fire or EMS someday, because we have presence from all the first responders. The Salvation Army brings a bounce house for the kids to jump around in, and we have it right here at the Justice Center. So it's a really nice event. So that'll be August 2nd. We're ready to do that. Any questions?
Who designed the 911 operator Facebook ad?
Which, oh, that's the recruitment video?
Yeah, well done.
Yeah, thank you. We did promotional videos for the jail dispatching. We're about to release the patrol one, but we hired a videographer to come in and do that with us. And we have seen an uptick in applications in the jail and dispatch with putting those videos out. It's made a couple people watch them and get interested. So we're excited about that. But we're going to continue to do that with the patrol division as well. And I know they're in the editing process right now for that. So one of the techniques we're trying for more recruitment.
Any other questions for the sheriff? John?
Where you call the fatality just half a mile south of the county line a couple of weeks ago, we called in on that.
That was synchro. Yeah, and I thought I read in their press release it was like their 7th or 8th fatality. So
Two of them were local from Farmington there. One on Highway 65. I believe that driver was from Polk.
Yeah.
The other one, I was there, 24-year-old kid from Somerset that we all.
No, it's, I know just driving around this weekend, the traffic that went through this county, it's amazing that we didn't have more issues because it's steady flow of traffic on these holiday weekends and just summer in general. And we're a tourist community and that's what you expect to see. So I think the numbers were record highs this year for people visiting it. It really seemed like we had a lot of people in our county.
Thank heavens for high gas prices. We really.
Yeah, it did. It seems like there was no slowing it down.
I think it was more than ever. That stop sign in Osceola, they were backed up clear to Minnesota.
Oh, and there's a lot of impressive vehicles and toys going across our roads too. A lot of big campers, a lot of big motorhomes, a lot of toys, boats.
All afraid.
Yeah.
Your, I got a question.
Go ahead.
On your drowning. Are you using your sonar pretty well? Is that effective or you still go through the old?
No, they exclusively use the sonars. And I had a picture sent from when they finally found them and the image is amazing. I mean, you look underwater, you're like, that's definitely a person. So the technology on the sonar is really impressive. And that was I'll commend Barron County for that search because they had nothing but a boat washed up on shore. That's all they had. They didn't know where the person went in and that's a big lake to search. So through using search methods and technology, they were able to make that recovery really quick.
Pretty gruesome way they used to have to do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Supervisor Rowdy. My update's quick because this morning got calls from the group and they had set up a work day up in Sterling, to work on those trails. And Danny Carlson was gonna come here and give an update, and Mo is gone and Rod is gone and Ben is gone for today. So there wasn't really anybody except I'm gotta apologize to Bob. Bob and Tim were coming over, but I didn't get that really, I didn't get them relayed correctly. Okay. So now Tim's gonna take over. If you want to pass on to the group, I did talk to Sterling Blade Man. And he's aware of those signs out there. And they're gonna get to it eventually. And one of the club members, I think, corralled them out there a little bit too and talked to them about the signs. Yeah, the ones that were fading and damaged. Yeah. Yeah. So they are gonna take care of that. Super. So then we got a little addition here where there's gonna be a presentation about the ATV, UTV.
We'll talk a little bit more about what's going on in Sterling. The other aspect, we've got the loop expansion going on that Doug was talking about. Right, if you don't mind. And now we've got the ATV park, the intensive use park that we've been working on. We have SCH is our consultant, and we met with them down in Syracuse, which is down just north of the Dells. It's a really impressive ATV park and motocross park that's been in existence since the 80s. It's quite a bit bigger than what we're proposing, but we wanted to kind of use that as a model for what we want to try to accomplish here. I thought I'd share a map. You've got the map in front of you as well. This is the park layout here. Far in front of you. So we came in here on State Highway 13, County Road O. This parking lot probably has enough room for 150 rigs. It's a massive parking lot. We spent our time looking at the ATV and UTV sections that are strictly those when we were there. Try not to get in the way. I don't know where it's in, but right in the middle. So we parked here. This is a little youth track right here for both dirt bikes and for ATVs. The youth, anything under, I can't remember the exact size, but
It's right here in front of the pavilion, and I'll show you some pictures going forward, so that the parents can watch. You know, they can have a picnic and they can hang out at the pavilion and watch their kids go on this little track right in front of them. It's kind of a nice setup that way. This is the older area, this orange section. We didn't go in that area. We just didn't have time. But we took this trail off to the east. And then this blue section here is the challenge course. And I'll show you some pictures of that. We got a bunch of different natural obstacles out there that about a half a mile loop, as you can see on there. It's really fun stuff that our consultants roll their ATVs over, and really popular things, you know, going over old telephone poles, old tractor tires, big rock gardens, that kind of stuff. It's pretty fun stuff to get your suspension working, you know. Then they have a UTV loop over here that's got big, wide, sandy. This is really similar to Sterling. A lot of sand country down here. So same kind of stuff that we're building, they've got it here too. This UTV track in purple here, nice wide areas. It's got little hips and tabletops and jumps and areas to kind of flare out your fenders and all that fun stuff. And then Rod and I were down there along with our intern Trent. They got to go down to the sand pit. Unfortunately, our UTV was acting weird, so we just went back. But super cool area. And we were there on a Wednesday, and there were families setting up a couple hours early there, having picnics, spending the day there. By the time we left, I think there were probably 10 or 15 rigs hanging out there on a Wednesday afternoon. This is a manned facility. They have 4 seasonal employees that work out there. This is run by the town of Rome, not by the county. So it's run by the township down there in combination with a motorcycle club or a motocross club. And like I said, it's been open since the 1980s. They charge $10 a day on weekdays and $20 a day on weekends. And they're open from mid-April until the last weekend in October. Wednesdays and Thursdays, they're open 2 to 8, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they're open 10 to 8. Give you an idea of the seasonality. I'll just run through a few pictures and a couple videos here for you, just to give you an idea of what this facility is like. So this is the pavilion, and this is where they check in. Their staff comes in here. You get a wristband, and you sign a waiver and pay your fee. You can get a daily fee or an annual permit. Depends on what you feel like. This is the kids park. It's a little track that rolls around. I got a little video at the end of a little kid riding around on a dirt bike. It's pretty fun. This is just us riding out on the trail. So you can see pretty similar country. We've got jack pines and sandy country, just like we'd have with Sterling. I wanted to showcase, you know, this trail is pretty close to the highway there. So we can pack trails in, get them close to Evergreen. That's where our proposed ATV park is going to be, just off of Evergreen, about 3/4 of a mile west of where the new ATV campground is. You know where that is up there. So, wanted to give you an idea of some of the signage, because that's going to be a critical thing. We're going to do a one-way trail system out there, so there's no head-on issues for accidents and that kind of stuff. But even on a 40-acre, 50-acre piece, you're going to need some good directional signage to keep people moving in the right direction, keep them understanding where they're at within the park. Again, just some examples of signage here. So this is the beginning of the challenge course. You can start seeing a few bumps and hips right here, features off to the side. So they have 2 parallel tracks there. They have the challenge course that you can take all those features, or if you're not comfortable with them, you can just ride the trail around the side. It's kind of a nice feature. One of the main goals for us in this ATV park, is to have some features that are for a variety of ability levels. That's why we're talking about a youth track, where we're talking about just having a generic or more flowy, kind of easy to ride sections, and then some more challenging features. So everyone from every different ability level can come out here and have some fun. Here's some of the old tires that they have kind of sunk in that you can you can bounce around on, should be kind of fun. Even bigger tractor tire to kind of roll over. They got a hill climb coming up here, a little video clip for you. You can see side by side, you have an easy trail and a harder trail as you're going up there. Just a close up of one of the log features, one of the little jumps. Another picture of that hill climb. The big kind of, there's two kind of sandy areas. This was a small one, it's probably like an acre, acre and a half. The actual sand pit that they have out there, I think is 25 or 30 acres. It's a big area for people to rip around on. I apologize for the videography coming up. I was just sitting outside, like holding my phone like this. So if you get motion sick, maybe look away. There's some log features here that you can ramp up on. And now this is like staggered railroad ties that this guy's gonna go over here. Just a variety of features that you can play on and get on and off as you please. These are all like old telephone poles or utility poles that they just recycle. They just cut them in half and lay them down. You got obviously laying crossways and then laying parallel, and then you got big rock gardens and then more tires. So that's kind of the extent of a lot of the features that they have out there. We're always looking for input on what else we could use for features, but I'll get into that when we also had a survey from the ATV group that we just concluded over the last couple of weeks. We'll go over that survey results in a few minutes here. You guys have that information in front of you. All right, moving on. Here's just a few more pictures of the site out there. Again, it's all sugar sand, all super sandy like we have up in Sterling. So just showcases that all these features that we want to accomplish out there can be done and have been done for a long time. We asked quite a few questions about what it took to install these things, what the maintenance operations are and that kind of stuff. And they were saying to keep them in good shape, they got to groom at least weekly out there, and they have special drags and machinery out there. Some of the stuff we already have at the county, but it's going to take some manpower to keep that stuff up to date and in good shape for depending on how well it gets used. Again, just rolling through signage and just giving you an idea as to what those trails were looking like out there. We got one or two more videos for you here. This is the ATV UTV track. Pretty wide, it's probably about 15, 20 feet wide. There. Nice and rolly, got some tabletop features as they call them. So guys that really hammer on these UTVs can clear them, just launch them. We didn't see any of that happening, but they say it happens pretty often. This is about I think a 2-mile loop that they have out there. This kind of stuff. Just want to give you an idea of what it looks like out there. And here's the last video of that little kid ripping around on the little youth track. There you go. So I just wanted to give you just a little taste as to what was out there and showcase kind of what we're thinking a little bit here. As I said, we met out there with our consultant SCH. We wanted to see what these features were like in person, just talk to them about what their process is and how things are going. And they get, sometimes on weekends, they get 250, 300 rigs through there on a daily basis. So it gets pretty busy. Their park is quite a bit bigger than what we're proposing. We're proposing like in the neighborhood of 40 acres. They've got over 600 there. So it's a little different animal, but so it's a lot of fun and the people down there have a lot of fun. Any questions about that? We're going to utilize the information that we got from that park and some of those features and how they designed them. That's why the consultants were there to start developing the concept plan that's due at the end of the month from the consultant. The next phase, we'll work on incorporating this feedback from the survey. I'll go over that in just a second here. And then we'll have 30% plans will be due by the end of September. Mid-November, we'll have 60% plans, and then the final plan for the design of this park is due early January, around the 6th. And that'll be presented to the Environmental Services Committee and the county board. That's kind of the outline of the process going forward with the consultant. Any questions on that?
Are we gonna have a fee schedule in our park too?
That is to be determined at this point. Where we're landed on it would be just, it would be a free park at this point and no attendance, you know, so keep it at that for now, but that could change in the future.
Does that have any amenities? I mean, I'm not even sure what amenities you'd have. Maybe if it's an all-day thing, you have picnicking there or.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep, there
so-
are, I don't know how many, but a lot of picnic tables there.
Okay.
And that shelter that I showed you, that's the main pavilion area there. There wasn't any real other structures for shelter out there other than that. Ours is proposed to have both a pavilion and a bunch of picnic tables and grills. We also have primitive like pit toilets out there at ours, going forward, a stall for each gender, or however you want to put it. We'll have at least a parking lot size for at least 20 rigs out there is our goal. That might be bigger, but we talked to the consultant this morning about it, and the idea would be to plan for at least that many and then put it in a spot where we could expand that if necessary. Really easy.
How much, you said it was a 600-acre park. How much of that is sort of set aside for buffering to, I don't know, keep neighbors happy or what have you? If you have somebody living adjacent to that, if, you know, they.
Yeah, good question. Not much. So like they run their trails within 30, 40 feet of the property line. So
Okay.
not much.
And is that a consideration on your plans or your vision?
Not really, mostly because the property that we're putting it on is all neighboring by, we own the property surrounding it. So there are some residential houses probably within a quarter mile of there, but ATV loops and all that already run close to that stuff.
And it's just ATVs and UTVs, no
No
motors, no
motorcycles or anything.
YZs or anything, okay.
That's the plan at this point. Anyway. Any other questions on that?
You're gonna go over the survey.
Yep.
next.
Yep, we'll go over the survey next. So in conjunction with doing a site visit to see what these features were like, we asked the ATV council, we contacted the president directly and had him distribute this survey. It's just a couple questions. Mostly asking like to rank and give us priority as to of the features that we could put in the park, what are the most preferential ones? What do you want to see more likely out there? And you can see the results here. Trails for all skill levels was the top one. Natural obstacles, sand pits, challenge courses, and bank turns. Those are kind of the top ones that we're going to look at. We included the youth track as something for skill level, all skill levels. I feel it's important to have a youth course out there. Make sure that the young group has an opportunity to be out there and it gives the full family something to do while they're out there. So things like moguls and jumping tracks and mud pits, maybe in the future. Be tough to do a mud pit out there anyways with all that sand country. So we're gonna be focusing on those top fives. natural obstacles, a sand pit, and the challenge course, kind of what we showed you today on the video. Going forward, the kind of the open-ended questions here, like questions 2 and 3, and kind of the main things we heard. We're making sure that we have a pavilion, good bathrooms, picnic tables and grills, kind of make it a spot where you can go and hang out. We want a good signage out there, connections to this property via trail. So obviously the roads and stuff are all open to ATVs out there. But connecting this via trail and connecting it to the new ATV campground will be some priorities for this project. And then finally, adequate parking. Those are the kind of the key themes from the survey. So that's the stuff we'll be using going forward to help fulfill and fill out this project with the consultant. And again, concept plan, just kind of generically where things are going to go and what we're going to place where is going to be due at the end of the month. So we'll have an update for that next month. Any questions?
Just one, so liability wise, you said that this other park, they sign a waiver,
Yep.
pay a fee.
Yep.
Okay, so county designs this track, have a consultant design it, and then somebody gets hurt and then they try and poke a hole in your plan. I mean, where's the liability? Who carries the liability? I know on the state snowmobile system, the snowmobile club carries liability. Does the ATV club carry liability
As
here?
far as I understand, it's going to be the county since it's our property, not our park.
And it's recreational immunity applies. So it's like having, you know, a swimming pool or something else where folks could become injured. Unless there's some deliberate intention of causing harm, like a county employee goes out there and, you know, puts spikes down or something crazy like that. If there's danger on the course, it's you're coming to the danger, and the government has recreational immunity. So there's not a lot of exposure, even though it is a dangerous, arguably dangerous
That
sport.
that statute, that recreational statute, cherry picker statute is pretty well tested in the state of Wisconsin. So
Yeah, it is, because if not, then there would be really a disincentive for governments to invest in recreational opportunities, because they do involve a level of risk.
I assume you'll sign there, there'll be a sign out there that says.
Oh, yeah.
Use
not
your own
liable.
risk. Yep.
Use your own.
Syracuse did share with us their waiver that indemnifies the town for any injuries. So we have a template that
You know, and I would advise generally against using a waiver in circumstances like that, because then they say, well, by using a waiver, you're admitting that you are waiving ordinary recreational immunity. So I honestly think a waiver is probably not a good idea.
That's part of the conversation going forward as to why we would or wouldn't charge money or tenants out there. And this just to fulfill, just to give you a full idea as to where we're going with this. This design information that's due at the end of January or at the beginning of January, excuse me. We used to apply for grants to the ATV funds next year. They're due April 15th. And so we'll build that once we get information as to whether or not we got those grants. They can cover at least 50%, sometimes up to 100% of the funding.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Good job, Jim.
Update from CJCC.
Just
Yeah,
do it here,
representation.
small group. So we had started the pretrial screening. We ran into a couple of issues. One, we do get those questions from the jail, questions that ask about substance use and housing. We get that through mail to the DA's office, so usually we get everything right on time, but occasionally we get things like the next day because it gets mixed in with other items for the DA's office. So IT was going to be looking into doing an online form for the booking room, so that in the booking process, the jailers can just ask the questions and it would email us the answers right away. The other issue we ran into was that North Point that we're using for the screening took the pretrial screen off for a while. It's now figured out and they have it back on, but in the meantime, we're also looking at switching to the PSA. It's widely used. I know Chippewa County and Eau Claire County use that for their pretrial screening. And it would take away the need for jail staff to have to ask any questions at all, which I know would be helpful for them while they're short-staffed. It'll just be a little bit of a process getting the PSA going, but we are in contact with them. We're also looking into victim offender conferencing. There's been requests by some of the victims that the victim witness coordinators in the DA's office work with, that they would really like to meet with their offenders, whether they had property stolen or battery, any type of crime where there's a victim. So last week we were in River Falls for part of the day meeting with a program down there that does this. And I've also been in contact with UMD, the gentleman there that does that. And we have a couple of options with that program. We could either send, or not send, but do a training for a couple of people in the county to be facilitators of that when they have that in November. Or we could look at having a group of about a dozen people, whether it's community members, CJCC, people from the DA's office that would be interested in supporting that program, and the trainer would come to the county to do that. I know in the counties that they've been using it, they've had great success because they meet with both the victim and the offender and do kind of like prep sessions before they actually sit down together to meet. So those are just a couple of the things we're working on right at the moment. So for our program numbers, our first time offenders program in June had 2 active participants, 2 referrals, and 1 termination. The intoxicated driver intervention program had 8 active participants, 4 referrals, 1 graduation, and 1 voluntary withdrawal. And that withdrawal was because the individual had similar charges in Burnett County and completed the IDIP program through their county. Substance diversion, we had 0 active participants. We had 2 referrals and 2 terminations. And those were both individuals that had gotten new charges while they're on substance diversion. In treatment court, there are 11 active participants, 4 new referrals, and we will have 2 graduating on July 29th. And then it looks like we'll also have a couple of new people starting in July for treatment court. There's just 1 person in stage 1, 4 people in stage 2, 4 in stage 3, and 2 in stage 4. So a lot of our group is getting further on in the program. So it'll be nice to have some new people coming in as we see more graduations.
And the graduations, you notify this committee of those in case we want to attend, or?
We don't, but we certainly can. That would be great if people wanted to
I have in
attend.
the past. I was pretty impressed with that whole thing when I
We
attended.
did years ago.
Yeah, it'll be, so just, I'll send a note out to everyone, but it'll be July 29th. It's a Friday at 10 a.m. So right after treatment court.
And isn't it in this room?
I think so. This is my first graduation that I'll experience since I've started, so.
I think the
But I think it
reception
probably
afterwards is usually in this room.
I've attended some here and I didn't know any of the people who were very appreciative to have other people here.
I think it would mean a lot to have supervisors attend.
It
And,
was-
and, you know, I do, I think that would mean a lot.
Yeah, and it just shows the people graduating that the community cares about them and is happy for their success. Yes.
Just, TJ, are you gonna have a better schedule for making meetings?
Yeah, I think I've been at pretty much all.
Yeah, I know you have, but I know it's been a burden for you.
Well, it's, say, love you, so
Yeah.
I make it work. That's fine, yeah. I need to organize my brain a little better. is all.
Oh, good luck.
Oh, we all need that.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. 911 review and dispatch, must be you, Joe.
Well, I'll talk for Jill for the start unless she wants to. So our dispatch center, handles all our calls for police, fire, and EMS. They handle approximately 30 to 35,000 calls for service. About 75,000 telephone calls coming in. They do that all with a staff of 12 people. And lately it's been, I know we keep saying it's been a burden, but Jill's done a great job of getting people their vacation off. She hasn't denied a vacation request, been struggling with covering shifts. So plus we got one that's going to go out on maternity leave any second now. So but yeah, so on dispatch end, as far as 911, we're looking at the new next gen 911 system coming on board. This incorporates new technology where, your cell phone can do text messages to 911 or video to 911. So it's just a big upgrade in the 911 system. Costs about $500,000. There's a grant out there we're applying for. At the General Government Committee, we got a resolution that just declares the Polk County Communication Center as the PSAP or the public safety answering point for Polk County. It just designates that so we can apply for the next gen grant. So hopefully we get that grant. It's a competitive grant, so we're trying to get everything in line for when the grant opens that we can get it. And then as far as towers, last fall you guys approved, or the county board approved new tower site and the microwave tower systems. The new tower site in Taylor's Falls, equipment's coming in. They're starting to get ready to get it all installed. We do have to do tower load studies for all our towers for the microwave as well as that water tower. The microwave system, we've been meeting with Motorola and their vendors. They got their studies going, and as soon as we get the tower load specs done, which hopefully will be in the next month or so, they can get going on ordering the equipment and making sure everything's ready to go. They're hoping to start by this fall. They're not sure that they'll get it all complete this year, but we're hoping to get the new tower site operational before the end of the year. Any questions for me at all?
I would just add to that, our dispatch does a lot of life-saving measures. When somebody calls in, for example, a few weeks ago, we had a young man who was electrocuted, and our dispatcher walked those people through doing CPR because people call up, they're in a panic, and our calm dispatcher is able to work these witnesses into being rescuers, and that had a fantastic result. So we anticipate some life-saving awards for the efforts there. But some dispatch centers, is my understanding, don't do the medical like we do. So it's not just calling 911, it's also getting life-saving advice and the process how to do it.
They're all EMD certified.
There's all this talk about in Minnesota on TV about 988 suicide channel. Is that going to be over here too?
It's national. It's going to roll out it's going to roll out kind of piecemeal. Nationally, I think they're trying to promote a one number that everybody knows. Obviously, mental health is a significant issue everywhere. You're going to call 988 and be transferred to a national, some data or some call center somewhere. I think in Wisconsin will probably be Madison or Milwaukee.
Will you guys receive that 988 call too?
No, that call will not come to your local sheriff's office. That's one of the glitches that we're still talking about.
That was my question.
I've attended many meetings on this subject. Some of the comm centers are a little concerned because right now when you call 911, we at least get your location. So if you are in a crisis where you're considering taking your life, we know where you are with your 911 call, and that would be data that you wouldn't have if you use the 988. You would be routed to somewhere probably much further away from where you are. So those are some of the things that need to be worked out. They can transfer that caller to us. We may not get the location. So It's just something we still need to kind of work out. It's really not meant for that type of a call. Those are still calls that should go to 911. But the public's gonna really need a lot of education as to how they should use that number appropriately. It'd be a great resource for someone that needed someone to talk to or somebody that needed a referral to a resource. Lots to still balance there.
Be nice if one of the wackos in this mass shootings and that could utilize that. They won't.
It's supposed to roll out, I think, mid-July.
One of the comments I made at the time, and it still boggles my mind, is when that event happened at Bone Lake. And all the fire departments were out doing recovery and the way dispatch handled that. I mean, I listened to all, the whole time I was out here monitoring as you go. Stacking those calls, I think Milltown Fire had 18 calls and dispatch was stacking them. Of course, Milltown Fire had split into 3 or 4 groups. Somebody had to stay with somebody that stepped on a high line, hot wire, so they split them all up and they still, are you still at this and are you still at that? It was just so well organized. I mean, I was so impressed.
I think that night too, Barron County's EMS went down, so we were taking all their 911 calls too. So our people did amazing work.
Yeah, I was totally impressed with that.
The longevity that we have in our center is really amazing. The positions that I'm trying to fill are the newest few positions. The majority of our group is maxed or near maxed. So you've got 10 to 15 years experience out of a majority of the people in there, which is really uncommon.
The other impressive thing is that you can find somebody with their phone, give it's tracking at this address or, approximately where that phone call is coming from, if they're not on a landline.
You must have 20 years.
Almost 30, John.
Yeah, I was gonna say it.
I think we're 29 in about a week.
Congratulations.
You guys are welcome to come over and see the dispatch center if you like.
Any other questions?
Our facility here now, 20 years old. Yeah, groundbreaking.
Related to our proposals.
Yes, unless Josh has anything, but Mo and Rod were gonna come and present. What we've been doing is they've been talking with both law enforcement and with Community Services Division about things like the jail and like the command center or that emergency vehicle. With respect to the emergency vehicle, I know they looked at what is it that each group, really needs, what does it be nice to have, and kind of learning in that regard. And so rather than me kind of jump in and say what they've been doing, I thought we'd just wait. I know as soon as Mo gets back, he'll be presenting to probably HHS as well as general government.
Yeah.
So I really don't have much on.
We're on to the work plan, which I guess we pretty much reviewed last time. We added reviewing the dispatch this time. Budget's right around the corner, I see.
Yep.
We're working on that. Okay.
Ready for adjournment?
Yes, sir.
We'll move.
Second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Stand adjourned.
Thanks for your information, you folks.